a symbol of athletic spirit, a will of steel that defied fate to reach glory. He was hailed as a national hero in the United States. But then everything collapsed. A shocking truth was revealed. It was all an unforgivable lie, uncovering the most notorious doping scandal in U.S. sports history. We're talking about Lance Armstrong, a man whose life of deception unfolded as dramatically as a Hollywood blockbuster. From a once-admired cyclist, Armstrong is now remembered only for one of the greatest hoaxes of the century, a decades-long and carefully orchestrated performance that left the world stunned, disillusioned, and unable to believe the final verdict. So what exactly is the story behind Lance Armstrong? Let's find out in this video. For cycling fans from the 1990s to the early 2000s, Lance Armstrong was undoubtedly a shining icon. During that time, he wasn't just a national treasure of American sports, but also one of the greatest legends in the cycling world, a powerful source of inspiration and a living symbol of miracles and undying passion for the sport. The story we once knew about Lance Armstrong was that of a young boy with a passion for cycling from an early age, who had achieved several amateur titles before officially turning professional in 1992. From that point on, Armstrong's career soared, marked by a series of outstanding achievements and historic firsts for American cycling. Just 1 year into his professional journey, Armstrong helped his Motorola team become the first American cycling team to break into the top 5 in the world. 2 years later, Lance Armstrong was crowned the world's #1 cyclist, becoming the first American to win the prestigious Classica de San Sebastian. From 1999 to 2005, the Tour de France, the world's most prestigious cycling race, was marked by the dominance of the American cyclist, who won an unprecedented 7 consecutive yellow jerseys. But that wasn't all. Lance Armstrong's image in the public eye was further solidified after a major turning point in 1996. At that time, the cyclist born in 1971 was a key member of the U.S. cycling team for the Atlanta Olympics, but intense pain eventually made it impossible for him to stay on the saddle. A thick medical file filled with tests and diagnoses led doctors to the conclusion that Armstrong was suffering from testicular cancer that had already spread to his lungs and brain. This revelation brought his world crashing down. What he sat on now was no longer a bicycle, but a wheelchair. The place he lay each night was not a cozy bed at home, but a hospital bed, and the fluids entering his body were no longer sports electrolytes, but a cocktail of chemical substances designed to aid radiation therapy. He coughed up blood multiple times, endured excruciating pain, and was given only about a 40% chance of survival. Even so, thanks to his unwavering willpower, deep love for cycling, and the support of family and friends, Armstrong returned to training just 5 months after his cancer diagnosis. By 1998, the name Lance Armstrong made headlines once again, but this time as a champion. The American athlete had truly conquered his illness, returned to his passion, and came back competing even more explosively than before. It was truly a perfect story for sports brands to capitalize on and attract customers to their products. As a result, Armstrong secured numerous sponsorship deals, becoming the face of major companies like Nike and Anheuser-Busch. He also launched his own charity, the Lance Armstrong Foundation, to raise global awareness about cancer. To this day, the yellow Livestrong wristband remains etched in the memory of fans during Armstrong's yellow jersey victories at the Tour de France, helping him raise $325 million for cancer research. He went on to serve as an ambassador for various charitable foundations and cancer support campaigns, becoming a symbol of courage, of extraordinary resilience in the face of illness, from zero to hero. An image built to near perfection made many forget that Armstrong's spotless career over such a long period was, in fact, far from normal. We can certainly acknowledge that he was incredibly talented, a true sports genius, but we also cannot ignore the possibility that he didn't accomplish it all on his own. I'm sorry you don't believe in miracles. There's no secret. The Tour de France is a sporting event, and only hard work brings victory, the American cyclist once said. in response to growing public skepticism. However, behind Armstrong's image as a remarkable athlete lay an earth-shattering secret, one that would become an indelible stain on American sports history. After announcing his retirement in 2011, Lance Armstrong faced mounting pressure amid growing suspicions about his use of performance-enhancing drugs. And then, the inevitable happened. On October 10, 2012, the world was shaken when the U.S. anti-doping agency, USADA, released a bombshell report over 1,000 pages long, containing solid evidence and testimonies from 26 witnesses, including several of Armstrong's former teammates from the U.S. Postal Service and Discovery Channel cycling teams. All of this unveiled the shocking truth that the legendary cyclist Lance Armstrong was, in fact, a fraud who used doping to win, and there was no miraculous story behind his success. Under immense pressure from the media by January 2013, Armstrong finally decided to confess everything on live television during a 2.5-hour conversation with Oprah Winfrey. By 2020, in the ESPN documentary Lance, Armstrong admitted that he first used doping at the age of 21. It was a series of mistakes, one after another, made in exchange for glory. Over the course of his career, he used blood doping many times, specifically EPO, erythropoietin, a substance that acts as a growth factor, stimulating the division activity of stem cells in red blood cells and early red blood cell progenitors. Clearly, with its effect similar to a game hack, this substance is banned in sports. However, Lance Armstrong underwent more than 500 doping tests throughout his career, including 60 from USADA and 125 from the International Cycling Union, UCI. So how did he manage to pass them all? The answer lies in Armstrong's incredible cunning. He used false testimonies to mislead investigators, employed new types of doping, threatened witnesses, made connections with influential figures, and even had a whole team helping him, alerting him about surprise doping tests in advance. In cases where he couldn't avoid a doping test, Armstrong would use a new type of doping that hadn't been detected yet, or he would drink a quantity of seawater hidden in his shirt to help bring his blood levels back to normal, making it seem like he hadn't used any doping. And in his final trick, Armstrong's team went even further, drawing his blood, mixing it with EPO, and reinfusing it into his body so the testing team couldn't detect anything. But the deception didn't stop there. In 2021, Armstrong was exposed by Jean-Pierre Verdy, the former head of France's anti-doping agency, AFLD, who revealed that Armstrong had used mechanical doping, specifically a motorized device hidden in his bike during competitions. I still remember the images of the mountain stages where Armstrong left everyone far behind. At the end of that stage, I spoke to all the experts I knew. No one thought this achievement was possible, even with the use of EPO. It wasn't doping that made the difference, Mr. Verdy shared. The former American cyclist later did not respond to these accusations, which we can infer as another shocking truth. With a series of scandals involving cheating like this, Armstrong's career and his legendary athlete image were simply beyond saving. Many important titles, especially the 7 Tour de France yellow jerseys, were stripped away. But perhaps the worst part was not the lost achievements, but the continuous lawsuits Armstrong faced due to the doping scandal. Since those controversies, Lance Armstrong has gradually disappeared from the sports world and media spotlight. The last time his name came up was when he married his girlfriend in 2022. This may be the greatest consolation for Armstrong after the scandals that ruined his reputation and left him facing years of hatred and legal battles. In some ways, we know that Lance Armstrong's immense desire to play sports and pursue his passion for speed on the cycling track was undeniable. He could have been remembered as a symbol of perseverance after overcoming a cruel illness. However, his reckless mistakes and the weaknesses in doping tests at the time contributed to his descent into a life of deceit. His transgressions are of course unforgivable, but from another perspective, it must be It must be acknowledged that the impact he had and the value he brought to the community were truly worthy of recognition. Yet it is precisely because of this that when the truth came to light, the heartbreak and outrage became even greater. Now, Lance Armstrong is only remembered as a villain, the one who created the most disgraceful doping scandal in U.S. history. Are there any other sports scandals you know of? Feel free to comment below so we can discuss them.